It is difficult to speculate what the world would look like today if the Axis powers, comprised of Nazi Germany, Fascist Italy, and Imperial Japan, had won World War II. However, we can examine some of the potential outcomes and consequences of such a victory. Firstly, it is likely that the world would be divided into spheres of influence controlled by the victorious powers. Nazi Germany would have controlled Europe, while Imperial Japan would have controlled much of Asia and the Pacific. Fascist Italy may have exerted its influence in the Mediterranean region. Secondly, the victorious powers would have implemented their respective ideologies and political systems in the territories they controlled. Nazi Germany would have likely imposed its totalitarian regime across Europe, including the extermination of Jews and other minority groups. Imperial Japan would have implemented its own version of authoritarianism, with Emperor Hirohito as the head of state. Thirdly, the outcome of the war would have had significant economic consequences. Nazi Germany's war economy was heavily dependent on the resources and labor of conquered territories, so the German economy would have been bolstered by its control of Europe. Imperial Japan would have similarly benefited from its control of Asia's resources, particularly oil from the Dutch East Indies. Fascist Italy, however, would have likely struggled with a weak economy, as it did during the war. Fourthly, the victorious powers may have continued their territorial expansion. Nazi Germany had plans for further expansion into the Soviet Union, while Imperial Japan had designs on the Philippines and Australia. The world may have become a series of ongoing conflicts and territorial disputes as the victorious powers continued to pursue their imperial ambitions. Finally, the outcome of the war would have had significant geopolitical consequences. The United States and the Soviet Union would likely have emerged as the two remaining superpowers, as they were the only major powers not defeated by the Axis. The Cold War may have taken a different shape, with the United States and the Soviet Union confronting the victorious powers in a world divided into spheres of influence. In conclusion, the consequences of an Axis victory in World War II are difficult to predict with certainty. However, it is likely that such a victory would have resulted in the world being divided into spheres of influence controlled by the victorious powers, with significant economic, political, and geopolitical consequences.